Hello everybody, we're going to look at another game from round 2 of the Fide World Cup. This game is between Grandmaster Maxime Vachier LaGrave and with the white pieces and GM Boris Grachev with the black pieces. E4, C5, knight f3, and now knight f6. And let me take time to just explain this, offbeat Sicilian. It's not seen that much. It's very similar to an Alekhines defense. For those of you newbies who don't know what the Alekhines or Alekhines defense is, it's e4 first and then knight f6. With the immediate threat against the e-pawn, the idea, of course, hypermodern idea is to provoke the central advance of the pawns. And then black's argument is that these pawns are not an asset to white, but rather a liability. And this is why I showed you the most extreme form of the Alekhines defense, which is the 4 pawns attack. And so you get the gist of the idea. Very provocative play. You're basically doing the bull and matador routine. You're telling white to come and get you, so to speak. All right, and then there's many games played in this variation, and practice has shown that that setting up all those pawns aren't what it's cracked up to be. That the pawns, with a lot of pawns comes great responsibility in guarding and maintaining them, and that many white centers have collapsed under the weight of trying to hold those pawns together. And nowadays, the most effective approach for white, at least according to practice, are these very simple approaches. Like your modern defense is just simply putting 2 pawns in the center and not trying to just blow white off the board. Also, again, even your simple exchange variations, very simple setups, not trying to, blow black off the board. All right, as in the early days. Okay, so I showed you that to give you more insight on this. Now you just simply insert the move c5 and insert the move knight f3, and now you have these similar setup here. And white is given the same opportunity to push for e5 here. Really should. The difference here is that with this pawn on c5, that white has more difficulty establishing the dual pawn center. If he wanted to get that, he would have to play c3 and d4, as in your Alpine Sicilians and such. In this game, Vachier LaGrave opted for knight c3, which is can be considered the other main line to this. I'll just show you the probably the most popular line, which is e5, right? Alekhines defense. Then knight c3 again. The idea here is to provoke this capture, this capture here on c3, and opening up lines for white. Here, okay, so e6, and now knight d5, doubling black's pawns, but these are good sturdy pawns in the center here. Now d4, knight c6, d6 has also been tried. D takes c5, b takes c5, queen d5, queen b6 with the eye on this pawn. Bishop c4. Bishop takes f2 check and king e2, and then castle. And of course, play could be improved on both sides, but that is just an example of an old game played by two players you probably never heard of. In 1981, a player named Rhine with the white pieces and Sprinkle with the black pieces. Now, Vachier LaGrave chose knight c3. And perhaps he wanted to avoid some preparation. Now, d5 was played by Grachev. And instead of knight d5, knight c6 is also one of the main lines. d4. And then d5. E takes. Knight takes. Knight takes. Queen takes d5. Bishop e3. C takes. Knight takes. Check. c3. Knight takes d4. And then this beautiful in-between move b4. If bishop takes d4, then simply e5. And black is okay after bishop e3 and bishop e7. So instead of bishop d4, this powerful in between those regions of move is played b4. And then black goes to queen e5. Of course, queen c7 is also playable. And this is how the game Spassky with the white pieces and Pribble went. After queen takes d4, queen takes d4, bishop takes d4, f6, of course, with this idea of playing e5, f4, now e6, g3, bishop d6, and castles queenside. And white is a bit better here. There's lead in development, discovery, attacks with the bishop. Now, actually not really here because of the thing right here, but white has more open lines for his pieces, and white has a backward pawn to attack here. It'd be hard for black to gain this advance e5 without creating an isolated pawn somewhere down the line. Okay, so those are just two, sample lines, because this is a rare line, so I wanted to take a little time to kind of show you its comparison in relation to the Alekhine defense, and here you see it in the Sicilian. So now we can get on with the game. So d5 was played, and then e5. Now, d5, e takes d5 was also tried at one point. And with the idea of trying to gain a better pawn structure here for white. And here is a relatively simple advantage in this line. Okay, black can probably hold, but it's like if you're not familiar and you just want to get to somewhere, pretty much safe with some slight winning chances, that's an option. So in this game, Vachier LaGrave did not take. Rather, he played e5, this advance. Knight f d7, and now play takes on a flavor of a French defense. e6. Notice Vachier LaGrave did not give black the opportunity to play the move e6. So he plays e6. This just disrupts development here. Because how are you going to get these guys out? F takes e6. Bishop b5. Knight c6. Castle. So we see that for the price of the pawn, white has nice, smooth, easy development. And black has some difficulty getting out his pieces. So we can say that white has more than enough compensation for this pawn. Queen e2. Bishop g7. Vachier gets his pawn back, but at the cost of tempi. Bishop takes c6. B takes c6. And queen takes c6. And just like that, black is already in a suspect position. The pawn structure is pretty bad. And to have a pawn structure like this, black needs to have some dynamic compensation in form of some type of attack or initiative or something like that. In this position, he has neither. And white has a better structure and just better prospects as far as activity is concerned. So white is just better. Black just has a bad pawn structure without any additional compensation here. Alright, and he's down material. Okay, so you really can't ask for more than that right out the opening. I mean, this is a brutal way to try to draw or win a game. These pawns are just miserable. Okay, so it's just 2 pawns down, fresh out of the opening. All right, d4, knight e4, rook c8. So we see what's going on here. Black knows he's down 2 pawns, and he's just trying to get extremely active, exploiting the fact that the queen has been roaming around, capturing pawns and such. So he's trying to get active, and then at the same time maybe get some material back along the way. Queen to a3, castle. So now black has completed his development, but unfortunately for him, he's paid too high of a price. He cannot capture this pawn, by the way, now because of this easy check right here. d3. So for example, rook takes c2 and queen b3. Alright, rook c4, and then the pawn would capture. h6, rook e1. King gets as safe as possible. Now c4, knight takes. Vachier snatches another pawn. Bishop takes f3. G takes f3. And now Vachier just goes into the endgame, and black is just busted here. I mean, there's really not much to say, but I did want to show you the game. Black played speculatively here. I mean, he could have did better. Made this open, did a little bit more justice with this opening. This opening is with black is not as bad as it came across in this game. I mean, black took a type of Conor McGregor type beat down in the game, and he could have played a little better. My suspicion is that black didn't really prepare this himself. That he kind of just tried to play something different, and it just didn't work out. Or maybe Vachier LaGrave knew a little bit more about it than Grachev expected. Alright, so knight c6, Bishop stays on a powerful diagonal, of course. I know some of you probably wanted to bring the bishop here and play defense, but for what? Stay on the attack. Rook gf4. There it is. King g6. And Vachier LaGrave is just not ashamed to take material. Black could have been resigned already, but he just keeps playing. King g4. And now just forcing the issue here. Even rook takes f4 check was possible. So don't think that bishop e5 was somehow necessary to avoid some type of big tactic. Vachier LaGrave is just putting the screws in here. Like, for example, if you try to move the rook, then just simply f3 with the fork. Again, king g2. And like, say if he tried to come here or something. Then again, f3. Because the problem is the mating net has been being weaved. So this is why this is the reason why Vachier LaGrave played the bishop to e5. Is he's orchestrating this mating net. This rook can't really escape, and that's what I wanted to illustrate to you. So for instance, if he tries to go back here, he just gets mated after rook h6. Okay, so this is to explain the reason why he played bishop e5. He knows that this rook is forced to, he's basically forcing black to trade off and things like that. He's showing black who's in control. Of course, he could have just took, but hey, if he could get black to walk into a mate, then why not, So king f3, so he just simply snatches the exchange, and that was it. Boris resigned. He had enough. Alright, so again, good game by Vachier. I mean, he played real logically, damaged the pawn structure. Black played a little bit too enterprising and lost too much material, and he just didn't get the payoff that he was looking for. I guess he figured with all the queen moves that Vachier was engaging in, that he would have some type of compensation, but the position, Sicilians are funny like that. Relatively close positions, and sometimes you can't, get that, all those, tempi, back that he might have been expecting. The return on investment was too low. Okay, so I hope you liked that game. I hope you learned something about this particular variation of the Sicilian. I forgot what it's called. It's a funny name. But like I said, when you see that, just think of Alekhaine's defense. And like I said, one of the main lines is just to push. Right, push, and follow up with knight c3. Okay, so please like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.